The moment I realized I was truly alone, and everything changed. Hi, everyone. I'm throwing this away on a new account because if anyone I know ever saw it, I don't think I could look them in the eye again. I've been carrying this for almost 3 years now, and most nights I still wake up at 3:17 a.m., exactly the same minute I used to hear her key in the door, feeling like someone punched a hole straight through my chest. I'm 34 now. I don't know if that matters. I just need to say it out loud somewhere, even if it's only to strangers on the internet. This is the story of how I lost the only person who ever made the world feel safe, and how I didn't even fully understand what I had until she was already walking away forever. Her name was Mara. We met when we were 22, both of us broke college seniors working the late shift at the 24-hour campus diner that smelled like burnt coffee and fryer grease. I was the awkward line cook who always burned the midnight grilled cheeses. She was the server with the half-shaved head and the tiny constellation tattooed behind her left ear. She used to lean over the pass-through window and tease me for humming old Radiohead songs while I flipped eggs. One night in February, the power went out during an ice storm, and we ended up sitting on milk crates in the walk-in freezer, sharing a contraband bottle of cheap Merlot just to stay warm. She kissed me first, tasted like red wine and wintergreen gum. I still can't smell wintergreen without my knees buckling. After graduation, we moved into this tiny one-bedroom above a laundromat in East Nashville. The floor slanted so bad that if you put a marble down in the kitchen, it would roll all the way to the bathroom. Our bed was a mattress on the floor because we couldn't afford a frame. We had exactly 2 plates, 3 forks, and a playlist called Rainy Sundays that we played on repeat whenever either of us had a bad day. She worked as a barista, I fixed computers at a strip mall shop, and somehow we made rent. We weren't going anywhere fast, but we were going together, and that felt like enough. People always said we finished each other's sentences, but it was more than that. Mara knew what I needed before I did. When my mom got sick, early onset Alzheimer's, the brutal kind, Mara was the one who drove 4 hours every Friday night so I could sit in that sterile hospital room and pretend I wasn't watching my childhood disappear. She'd wait in the parking lot reading dog-eared paperbacks with a thermos of diner coffee until I stumbled out crying. Then she'd hold my hand the whole drive home without saying a word. She just knew. We got married at the courthouse on a Tuesday because neither of us believed in big weddings. She wore a thrift store sundress the color of a summer peach. I wore the same gray blazer I'd had since high school. We spent $53 total, including the vending machine honey buns we ate as our reception. After we drove to the river with a blanket and a bottle of champagne we weren't legally old enough to buy yet, the clerk didn't card us. We lay on our backs watching planes blink across the sky and promised each other we'd never become the kind of adults who forgot how to be silly. She traced the constellation behind her ear onto my forearm with her finger and whispered, "You're my favorite place in the universe." I believed her. The first crack appeared so small I didn't even feel it. I got promoted, then another promotion. Suddenly, I was making real money for the first time in my life. And I got hungry. Hungry to prove I wasn't the kid who grew up wearing his cousin's too big shoes. Hungry to give Mara the things I thought she deserved. A house with level floors, vacations that didn't involve sleeping in my beat-up Corolla, health insurance that actually covered stuff. I told myself I was doing it for us. She never asked for any of it, but I kept taking the overtime, kept saying yes to projects, kept coming home later and later, smelling like office air conditioning and someone else's ambition. Mara started picking up extra illustration gigs. She was so talented, God, you should have seen her work. But she was always home before dark, cooking something that made the whole apartment smell like garlic and hope. I'd walk in, kiss the top of her head, promise I'd be better tomorrow, and then collapse into bed without asking about her day. She tried to talk to me, softly at first. Hey, I miss you when you're gone all the time. I'd laugh it off. I'm literally sitting right here, babe. Then sharper. Sometimes it feels like I live with a ghost who wears your cologne. I'd get defensive, tell her I was exhausted, that I was doing this for our future. The fights got uglier. I'd sleep on the couch. She'd cry in the shower so I wouldn't hear. The night that everything broke was ordinary, in every way except the ending. It was a Thursday in October. I'd stayed late again, some server migration that couldn't wait. Mara had texted me around 6 asking if I'd be home for dinner. She'd made that tomato basil pasta I loved. I replied with a thumbs up emoji. Didn't think twice. I got home just after 11. The apartment was dark except for the string lights we'd hung over the bookshelf. There was a plate on the table, sarin wrapped, stone cold, a sticky note on top in her handwriting. Heat for 2 minutes. I'll be at Jess's if you need me. I was annoyed. Annoyed that she'd left. Annoyed that the food was cold. Annoyed that I felt guilty when I was the one working my ass off. I ate standing over the sink, scrolling Twitter, went to bed without texting her. She didn't come home that night. The next morning, there was a text. Can we talk when you get home tonight? Like really talk. I love you. I replied, of course. I'll try to be home by 8. I wasn't. I didn't get home until after midnight. Again. When I walked in, she was sitting on the couch in her old high school hoodie, knees pulled to her chest. The apartment looked different, emptier. It took me a second to realize her books were gone from the shelf. Her succulents weren't on the windowsill. Her toothbrush wasn't in the bathroom. She looked up at me with eyes so tired they looked bruised. I can't do this anymore, she said. Voice flat. Like she'd cried all the tears already, and this was what was left. I actually laughed, because it was so absurd. What are you talking about? Babe, come on, I'm sorry I was late. I packed my stuff while you were at work. She gestured to 2 duffel bags by the door. I'm going to stay with Jess until I figure things out. I felt the floor tilt the way it used to in our old apartment, but worse. Mara, please. We're married. We don't just leave. She stood up slowly. I've been trying not to leave for 2 years. You just never noticed I was already halfway out the door. I begged. I cried. I promised everything. Therapy, less hours, a trip to the mountains like we always talked about. I dropped to my knees like some bad movie. She let me hold her legs while I sobbed into her jeans that still smelled like our laundry detergent. But her body was stiff, like she was already practicing being somewhere else. I love you, she whispered into my hair. But I don't think you love me more than you love the version of yourself you're trying to become. And I deserve someone who chooses me first. Every day. Not just when it's convenient. She kissed my forehead one last time, like she was saying goodbye to a child. Then she picked up her bags and walked out. I sat on that couch until sunrise. Didn't move, didn't sleep. Just stared at the indent in the cushion where she used to sit sketching while I played video games. The apartment had never been so quiet. She filed for divorce 6 weeks later. No fault. Quick. Clean. Like ripping off a Band-Aid that had grown into your skin. I spent the first month drunk. The second month trying to win her back with long apologetic emails she never answered. The third month realizing she'd blocked my number. By month 6, the papers were signed and our marriage was officially dissolved on a random Wednesday in April. She kept her maiden name. I kept the apartment that now echoed like a tomb. I wish I could say that was rock bottom and I climbed out, but the truth is uglier. I threw myself harder into work, got another promotion, bought a condo downtown with floor-to-ceiling windows and no memories in the walls, filled it with expensive furniture that still feels like it belongs to someone else. I dated, sort of, pretty girls who laughed at my jokes and posted couple photos I never felt anything looking at. I made six figures before I turned 32. Everyone says I'm doing amazing. But every night when I come home, I still take my shoes off by the door and wait, just for a second, to hear her voice call out, "How was your day, babe?" from the kitchen. Every time the silence answers instead, something inside me cracks a little more. I drove past our old apartment last month. Someone else lives there now. They painted the door blue. There's a toddler's tricycle on the porch. I sat in my car and cried so hard I threw up in the parking lot. The worst part, the absolute worst part, I finally understand what she meant. I'm surrounded by people who think I have it all together. I have more money than I ever dreamed of. I can buy any concert ticket, any gadget, any vacation. But when my mom doesn't recognize me anymore and I sit in that nursing home hallway, sobbing, there's no one to drive me home in silence, holding my hand. When I'm sick, I microwave Campbell's soup and eat it alone, watching Netflix shows we used to quote together. When I achieve something big at work, I text my group, chat, and get fire emojis, but no one leaps into my arms, spinning me around until we fall on the couch laughing. I am, without question, the most alone I've ever been in my entire life. And the cruelest truth of all is that I did this. I built this life where success tastes like ash because the only person I ever wanted to share it with is gone. I chose the wrong thing every single day until the right thing walked away forever. Sometimes I Google her name. I know I shouldn't. She's in Portland now. Has a little art studio. Her Instagram is full of sunlight and plants and a dog with one ear that flops over. She looks happy, peaceful, in a way she never quite was with me toward the end. There's a photo of her laughing with her head thrown back, hair longer now, no trace of the sadness I put in her eyes. I hope whoever took that picture knows how lucky they are. I hope they never take it for granted. I don't know how to end this except to say, if you have someone who makes the world feel safe, who waits up with cold pasta just to see your face, who loves you even when you are being an ambitious idiot, don't let them become a ghost. Don't wait until their bags are by the door to choose them. By then it's too late. I would give every dollar, every title, every empty accomplishment to go back to that night with a cold tomato pasta and the sticky note. I would come home at 6. I would eat it burned. I would hold her until the sun came up and never let go. But I didn't. And now I'm the guy with the big condo and the big job and the big hole where my heart used to be. Thanks for reading, if anyone made it this far. I don't expect advice. I don't deserve it. I just needed to say her name one more time where someone might hear it. Mara. I'm sorry. I miss you every day, and I will never stop being sorry for as long as I live.